After their final defeat by the Romans at Betar in 135 AD, Jews will remain without political power for almost 2,000 years. But even in dispersion, the Jews keep alive the dream of return. The rabbis declare,
"To abide in the land is worth all the other commandments. All that dwell in Israel are without sin."
In A Place Among the Nations, Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu writes,
"This concrete attachment of a particular people to a particular place distinguishes Judaism from all other religions."
In myriad ways, Jewish religious practice keeps alive the idea of return. When Jews pray, they face toward Jerusalem. In the ancient Shmona Esrei, they repeat several times daily,
"Gather us from the four corners of the earth. Blessed are you, Lord, who gather the dispersed people of your people, Israel."
Nor is the land of Israel ever empty of Jews. Even after their final defeat at Betar, Jews are a majority in Palestine. They rebel against Rome again in the 4th century and in 614 AD against their Christian Byzantine rulers. They joined the Persians in their war against Byzantium, serving in the tens of thousands in special battalions. These Jewish legions, established by the Jews in Palestine, would prove to be the last organized Jewish armed force for the next 1,300 years. For 3 years, the administration of Jerusalem is in Jewish hands. But the Persians betray the Jews, and when Byzantium retakes the Holy Land, the Jews suffer harsh persecution. In 638 AD, Jews join the Arab invaders, who capture Jerusalem. It is under the Arabs that the Jews become a small minority in the land. The Arabs confiscate Jewish land and property. Jews are forbidden to enter the Temple Mount, on which a great mosque is built. Synagogue construction is banned, and Jews are required to wear special dress. Despite Arab repression, in 1099 the Jews join in the fight against the Crusaders, whose ruthless reputation precedes them. Jerusalem resists for 5 weeks. As a contemporary Crusader account relates,
Jew, Turk, and Arab fight for their lives with sling stones, with catapults, with fire and venom. And though there was terror on all sides, none put down his sword. The Turk, the Arab, and the Jew were among the fallen. The Jew was the first to fight, and is the last to fall.
When Saladin conquers Jerusalem in 1187, the collapse of the Crusader kingdom produces a wave of intense messianic ferment, prompting Jews from many lands to move to Palestine, including a large number of religious scholars. Historians call it the Aliyah of the 300 rabbis. For the next 600 years of rule by a series of Muslim empires, the pattern continues, with bursts of immigration often focused on specific dates when redemption is believed to be at hand. Rapidly changing conditions in the land of Israel, most of them hostile to Jewish survival, leads to a cycle of decline followed by efforts at renewal. In the early 15th century, a large aliyah to Jerusalem dissipates following a ruinous increase in taxation. In the early 16th century, a major aliyah of Jews settles in Sfat in the Galilee, which becomes the focus of a major Jewish intellectual renaissance. Persecution brings an end to the community. In the diaspora, attacks like the Chmielnicki massacres of 1648 in Poland lead the Jews to follow false messiahs. The most famous of them is Shabtai Tzvi. Enthusiastic masses in Eastern and Central Europe abandon their property in preparation for an exodus to the Holy Land. The followers are shocked when in 1666 the Turkish Sultan forces Shabtai Tzvi to convert to Islam. Nevertheless, Jews continue to believe in mystical dates that will inaugurate redemption and immigrate to Eretz Yisrael as those dates approach. The largest aliyah is in the years leading to 1840, 5600 on the Jewish calendar. An Israeli historian writes,
Tens of thousands of Jews arrived in Palestine, radically changing the demography of the Jewish community there. By the time the first of the Zionist immigrants began arriving towards the end of the 19th century, the land of Israel was already host to its largest and most vibrant Jewish community in many centuries.
The Jews mainly live in Jerusalem and Hebron. At no time in the 460 years of Arab rule is there a separate country called Palestine. The land is divided into districts and provinces of the successive empires. Centuries of misrule has left most of the land despoiled, its desolate condition vividly portrayed by famous visitors, among them Herman Melville and Mark Twain. But the dawn of a new age brings new hope. Western countries establish diplomatic missions in Ottoman-ruled Palestine and extend protection to the Jewish minority. Most important, a modern movement emerges. Zionism sprouts spontaneously, first in Eastern Europe and Russia, and then in the West. It will succeed where earlier efforts have failed, to once again make the Jews a free nation in their own land.